Weird Science
is the revolution.
Hello, all you marvelous Marvelites. Welcome to the Weird Science Marvel Podcast. My name is Zach, and today I will be doing a solo review of Marvel's Alien number 3. This issue is written by Declan Shalvey with the present-day artwork done by Andrea Briccardo with the flashback art by Declan Shalvey. The colors are by Ruth Redmond, and the letters are by VC's Clayton Coles. So when we last left off with the Alien comic, Zasha had been reunited with the synthetic Dayton, along with having Jun Yutani be on her trail, and while that was all going on, we also see the Xenomorphs rampaging across the Weyland-Yutani crew's camp. Also, in the flashback, we saw one of the synthetics on the Cluley mining colony start to slowly get obsessed with the alien and what it is capable of. So we pick up in this issue where we see two members from the Weyland-Yutani crew are trying to flee from the surface. They get into a submersible. They're trying to flee the Xenomorphs that overran their camp. So they're attempting to try and reach the USCSS Borea, where the rest of the submersibles are that are attempting to try and salvage the ship. And as they're going down there, we see that a Xenomorph has latched on to their sub, and before it can break into their cockpit, we see one of the submorphs show up, and they start fighting, and the other submersibles are able to kill both of the Xenomorphs. We then transition to see Zasha and Dayton's reunion, and it's really nice. I really do enjoy it. It's very quiet, and Dayton's just like, "Oh, Zasha, it's so good to see you. I managed to escape the submorph that had attacked me 13 years ago, and I hid myself away in a closet where I hooked myself up to a very crude energy source, but it's managed to keep me alive for the past 13 years. Which, not gonna lie, that's a little far-fetched, but I'm not gonna nitpick it. I'm just gonna let it slide. But yeah, so he's managed to stay alive, and she's really happy, and she's hugging him, and he's like, "Why'd you come back for me?" And it's nice, like I said, it's a really nice moment, but it's immediately broken up when Jun Yutani shows up. And as soon as we see Jun Yutani walk in the room, we then transition to the flashback, where we see that on the mining company, the Xenomorph had escaped the lab when the head scientist synth tried to kill it. The Xenomorph escaped, murdered the synth, the main one, and then the crazy one, whose designation is 227-N. I don't know if that was used in the last issue, but that is their designation in this issue. 227-N tries to reason with the alien, trying to communicate with it, being like, "Oh, I don't want to hurt you. I need you to help me eradicate the humans. They treat us like garbage. I can't do anything against them, but you can. I don't oppose a threat to you. I don't care about you. All I care is that you can mess up the humans. You can eradicate the humans, so me and my kind can live in peace. Can't you see that I'm not your enemy?" And he keeps trying to reason with the Xenomorph. So clearly he's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Now, it is a synth, but still. Anyway, so then, once again, we cut back to Jun Yutani, and he's making demands of Zasha, saying, "I want my property back." And Zasha's immediately like, "Oh, you can have your ship back as soon as I get Dayton to safety." And he's like, "I'm not talking about the ship. I'm talking about Dayton." And Zasha's immediately like, "What? How do you know Dayton?" And he's just like, "Well, first off, his name's not Dayton. His name is 227-N. That's right, everybody. Dayton is the crazy synth scientist from the flashback. Now, looking back at it, in hindsight, it's kind of obvious. But I'm not gonna lie, I never expected that. I really thought that flashback was gonna be nothing more than just how to explain the aliens getting on that ship that ended up crash landing on LV-695. That's all I thought it was gonna be. I didn't know it was gonna tie in kind of a big way. This is a really big way. And it's kind of cool. I can't exactly say I could have predicted it, because even though they don't really look similar, Dayton and 227-N, because 227-N, he has like brown short hair, and obviously Dayton, he has long flowing black hair, and he has a beard, and he looks very different from 227-N. But, I mean, it's not uncommon for synths to change their looks. We know if you watched Prometheus and Alien Covenant, David had grown his hair out between the movies, and it was about shoulder level. So, I mean, they can change their appearance. It's a little weird. You couldn't really play along with that. I mean, you just would have had to be like, "Oh, Dayton's 227-N," But I mean, I still like it. I do like this review. I am happy that it is a huge aspect of this comic. I really thought this flashback was going to be nothing more than to fill pages, but thankfully it does tie in really well. So I say really well. It ties in well enough. There's a few things you can nitpick, but overall, in the grand scheme of things, it works. So yeah. So we see the full flashback. Then we see that the alien immediately attacks him. You know, it does not care for Sense at all. I don't care. It's not one of those things where it's like, oh, I only hate living things or humans. It immediately attacks him, rips his arm off. That's why Dayton does not have an arm throughout Alien, Thaw, and Descendant. It's because this xenomorph ripped it off. He then fled, which we don't get to see that, but we can just assume he fled Clue Lee, the mining colony, and he ended up working for LV-695, the crew of the Keg, which is Batia, Zahn, and Zasha's family. So he stowed away there, and he's been hiding there ever since. So that's really cool. I do like that. I do like how that ties in. And it also shows why Dayton knows a lot about the xenomorphs. Now, before then, we already knew that Batia had known about the xenomorphs. But, you know, I mean, I still like it. I still like it enough. June is just like, okay, I want him. He is coming with me no matter what. And Zasha's me like, don't you dare touch him. And as soon as she says that, his bodyguard knocks her the heck out. So we then see that while all that was going on, we also see in the background the salvage crew for the Weyland Yutani crew. They finally managed to get all the support cables tethered to the ship, and they're about to raise it out of the water. And it's kind of weird because it's like, you know, a lot of people just freaking died. You know, your entire base camp got slaughtered. People were literally slaughtered on the USCSS Borea. And yet all these other people are just like, oh, well, business as usual. We got to salvage this. And it's just like, they even freaking have the two survivors from earlier, the ones who were trying to get away from that xenomorph that ended up getting shot in the water with a submorph. They're there. And yet still nobody acts like it's a big deal. I mean, everybody's just like, oh, let's get the heck out of here, but not without this ship. I'm like, no, just get the heck out of there. You don't even know where Jun Yutani is. You know, it's not like, you know, y'all got anything writing on this. I mean, just get the heck out of there, get on the main ship, and leave. But I don't know. I mean, I guess you could say they're afraid of retaliation for the Yutani family and the CEOs. But, like, at this point, I wouldn't be thinking about that. I'd be thinking about trying to survive. So, either way, they decide, oh no, let's keep going, let's keep doing our business, let's do our job, get this ship salvaged, get it up into the atmosphere where we can haul it back to the main place we need to go with Weyland Yutani. They raise it up into the air, they get it out of the water, and as soon as they get out of the water, we see there are a bunch of submorphs crawling all over the bottom of it. And they begin to try and go towards the submersibles. One of the drivers of the submersible gets afraid, and he starts popping off at them with the weapons on it, and everybody's me like, whoa, stop, you'll hit the hull, you'll damage it, this thing needs to be space worthy, otherwise we can't get it out of here, you know. And he's like, well, I can't just let these dang xenomorphs, these aliens come and attack us. And of course they start doing exactly that. They start crawling across the support cables, and they have no choice but to fire. And as soon as they start hitting them, of course, the acid blood comes out, lands on the cables, the cable snaps, the ship starts to tilt, and then all crap breaks loose, and eventually the submorphs end up running over the submersibles. One of the submersibles ends up getting overrun, the guys die, the submersible then starts to fly down towards the ship, it hits the middle of the ship, which damages the integrity of the ship. The ship then starts to snap in half after the cables are pulling each end up. It starts falling, it hits the ground below on LV-695, and what do you know? As soon as it hits, it sends a shockwave that opens up the ground, and guess what's below the ground? It's the giant snow crab monster thing from the Alien Annual we had earlier on, before the series. Yeah. You know, the one that has, like, the queen face hugger in it? Yeah. It wakes up, it breaks free of the ice, and now all crap has broken loose. Now, this is kind of a big issue, yet it's also really chaotic. Um, what are my opinions on it? My opinion is I really do like that reveal. I really like how it ties in with Weyland-Yutani, how it ties in with the flashback. All that I like. If I were to nitpick it, here's a few things that I don't like. One, Jun-Yutani knows 227-N, Dayton. And he's like, I know you. You used to work for me on that mining planet. Which I'm like, no. One, you weren't there. Two, if you were there, how come you weren't one of the victims? And three, this was like, how many years ago? Okay, so it took place in 2168. This book takes place in 2208. This makes no sense. How old is Jun-Yutani? If it took place in 2168, this book takes place in 2208. So that would mean it is 38, 40 years ago? Is that right? Yeah, it's 40 years ago. It took place 40 years ago. Jun-Yutani is not 40 years old. I mean, now maybe you could argue, oh, maybe he's on some kind of youth enhancing drug or something. Maybe he knows the secret to immortality. I don't know. Either way, this guy is not in his freaking 40s, 50s. This is like a 20-year-old kid. I don't know how that timeline works out at all. Maybe it'll get explained in the next issue, but that is a big red flag to me, because there's no way he was in charge of that place back then, because he's like, I know you, 227-N. You were responsible for all those people getting killed. You stole all my information. You let the xenomorph loose. None of that would have happened if it wasn't for you. You're just as bad as humans. You say that humans do nothing but kill and steal and do all this stuff. All you did was kill and steal. You stole my research. You killed these people. You let the xenomorph loose. You're just as bad as humans. And you know what? I'm not gonna lie. I did smile at that, because I'm full disclosure, I am not a synthetic fan when it comes to aliens. I don't mind them, but I don't want them to be a focus. You know, I'm not one of those people where I love like David or Walter. I'm a person where I like synthetics in terms of like Bishop. They're in the background, they are there to help you. But and I know some people might be like, oh, that's cold and heartless, not being sympathetic with the robots who wants to be humans. It's not that, it's just, the whole thing about this is we're dealing with aliens. We're dealing with these xenomorphs. That's what I want to focus on, not this whole, am I a real boy, or, oh, I'm being mistreated by the humans. Like, I would rather much focus on, hey, there's this threat out there that threatens our existence. What are we going to do about it? How are we going to survive that nightmare? That's what I love Alien for, but tangent aside though, sorry. Just I wanted to get my feelings out there. But yeah, so I don't know. I like Dayton, like I said, overall as a character. This does kind of evolve my opinion of him, because I don't like 227-N, but obviously he's grown from there. He's evolved from that. He is a completely different. I want to say he learned his lesson, so I do like that. Yeah. So I do like this issue. Like I said, I'm not the biggest of synthetic fans, but I still like here. I do like seeing, oh, the synthetics are not as great as they are made out to be in other media. That's one of the things I didn't really like about Philip Kennedy Johnson's Alien run. He really liked to focus on the synthetics and their desire to be more than human and all that. And like, I don't mind it, but I want to read about the aliens, and we're not getting that here, sadly. But I will say I do like this stuff much better than the previous stuff we had gotten. I honestly think this is probably the best issue we've gotten from Declan Shalvey, period. That's not to say there are not nitpicks in here. Like I said, I could really nitpick Jun-Yutani being 20, even though he was supposedly in charge of that Cluely mining colony 40 years ago. There's weird ways to explain it, but I don't know, it's still sus. I do like the interaction between Zasha and Dayton, seeing how much she does care for him and how much she missed him over the year. I don't really care for how they explain Dayton living, but I'll let it slide just because I like the character. And yeah, that's the big theme of this issue. There's a lot of things that happen that I like, but I kind of gotta let some of the smaller stuff slide. Like, for instance, them trying to still salvage the USCSS Borea. Obviously, they probably wouldn't be doing that, especially if literally a group of, or the two survivors come up to them, being like, oh, we got attacked by aliens, we gotta get the heck out of here. And they're like, oh, but Jun-Yutani will kill us if we don't get this ship airborne. And it's just like, Who cares? Like, he's not even freaking there. Just abandon and regroup. You don't have to leave the planet. Just go to the mothership, reform a plan, or at least get to safety. Get away from there, regroup, replan, and then do it. But apparently they're trying to make sure they get their good graces in with the boss, I guess. I don't know. To me, it still seems weird. But yeah, I've rambled on enough. Let me just say, I do really like the artwork, especially the Declan Shalvey artwork with the flashback. Seeing the alien by Declan Shalvey is actually really cool. I really like seeing the alien. The human-esque, I say human, they're synths, but I think he's better at drawing the alien than he is at drawing like the humanoid-esque characters, the synths. But I mean, that might just be my opinion. I know a lot of people like Declan Shalvey, so if you do, that's great. I'm happy for you. Yeah, so all in all, if I had to rate this issue, I'm actually going to go up. I usually do a 7 out of 10 for this book. I think that's what I've done for the past 2 issues. I'm actually going to give this, I'm going to give this a 7.8, which is the highest score I've given a Declan Shalvey comic, period. I know Jim loves to joke that I am a huge Declan Shalvey fan. Let me say, I am not. But I am a huge Alien fan, and it makes me happy that we are getting pretty good Alien content. While I would like to focus less on the synthetic stuff, I'm still happy that the comic is at least stepping in the right direction. But anyway, I'm done talking your ear off. I hope y'all guys enjoyed, and I'll talk to y'all later.
Weird science is the revolution.